Hi there, my name is Rachel and I am a customer experience blogger, trainer, content creator, and consultant. In this video, I'm going to be exploring the topic and answering the question customer service versus customer experience. What is the big difference between the two, and how do you define both concepts? And so, to begin, first I'll be defining what is customer service, then I'll move on to define what is customer experience, and I'll be highlighting the key difference between the two. So let's dive straight in and start off with the concept of customer service. And so for me, there are two main factors that make up customer service. There are two concepts, and one is very, very tangible, and the other is more intangible. So let's look at that tangible aspect first. So, that first tangible aspect is referring to the practical tasks that need to be done to serve a customer. And these tasks are usually completed by somebody on the front line in a business. So, this can be retail staff on a shop floor, this can be customer service representatives in a contact center environment, this can be complaint handlers. And what these employees tend to do is they do the day to day nitty gritty tasks of serving customers. Now, this includes a wide range of activities such as answering telephone calls, directing customers to the right place for where they need to go to experience a service, for example, at a football match. It can also include things like problem solving and complaint handling. And so those very tangible things, they make up that first aspect of customer service. The second part of customer service is very intangible. And to explain this in more detail, let's think about a common example. I am now, just picture this, I'm going to a fast food restaurant, let's just say McDonald's. Don't judge me, it's cheat day. And when I get to the drive-through, the person who is serving me and taking my order, they don't show any care or respect. I feel like I'm being rushed through the drive-through. I know it's called fast food, but this just feels a little bit ridiculous. The person is a bit rude to me. Once I've paid for the order, I then go through to the next window, and the person at that window is equally rude, disengaged, and they just shove the McDonald's bag in my face before I've even had a chance to say thank you. And so now I drive off. I turn to my husband and I say to him, I had a very bad experience there. The customer service was poor. And so this is now the intangible aspect of customer service. This is what I'm talking about. It's the description of the feeling that I just had from my interaction with McDonald's, with the business, with the brand. And so the intangible aspect of customer service, it can be good, it can be poor, it can be average, but it's actually made up of those tangible elements that we spoke about initially. So what I mean by that is the person that served me, they were doing all of those tangible things, but they just weren't doing them very well. So they were serving me, they were speaking to me, they were taking my order, all of those nitty gritty frontline staff elements, but they just didn't do it very well. And that leads into me describing that customer service as being poor. And so that description is the second part, the intangible aspect of customer service. So let's recap. Customer service is made up of two parts. Part number one is the very tangible day-to-day activities that a customer service representative or a client relationship manager, somebody on the front line, is performing at an organization in order to serve customers and to help them to experience a brand or a business in a much easier way. The intangible aspect refers to the description of the service being provided. Overall, customer service can be measured. This usually takes the form of surveys from customers. So asking customers how they feel after an interaction, how they would rate the service, and this can usually be transferred into a percentage. So for example, after my McDonald's trip, let's say I used the app to order my food, and then a survey popped up and said, how was your experience? I might rate that a number 2. And let's say on average, customers are rating that particular McDonald's as a 5 out of 10. That can then be translated into a percentage to say that 50% of our customers are satisfied. And so that is what customer service is, to sort of break it down and make it more palatable. Now let's move on to what is customer experience. Okay, so customer experience has been defined quite widely on the internet. My favorite definition comes from McKinsey and Company because they are a reputable source of information when it comes to business concepts. And they have presented this definition. CX, or customer experience, encapsulates everything a business or organization does to put the customer first, managing their journeys and serving their needs. Now, that is a very good explanation, and I'm going to break that down even further. Now, here is my bare bones definition of customer experience. Customer experience is how an individual experiences a company or organization, and this is made up of three key elements. Number one, products and services. Number two, people. And number three, the overall customer journey. So, element number one is products and services. To just put it really bluntly, if an organization has a great product or a great service offering, it's going to have a massive contributing factor to the customer experience being positive. If there's a poor product or service, the impact is going to have the opposite effect. For example, I use Apple for my phone, for my laptop, and their product is solid. For what you pay for an Apple product, you get a very high standard of product. So what does this lead to? It leads to me having a great customer experience in that area, in the area of the product. Let's look at another kind of lower level example. Let's say you went into the pound shop or the dollar store and you wanted to buy a very simple £1 lunchbox just to get you through the next few months. Now you go in there, you buy the lunchbox, and it lasts for 6 months, it doesn't break. Happy days. That would be a great product because you've only paid £1 for it and it's kind of done what it says on the tin. It's from the pound shop, you weren't expecting it to last for 10 years, not made of steel, it's made of plastic. And so that will contribute to you having a great customer experience, that particular product. However, if you went into that pound store and you brought the product home, your lunchbox, and after 2 weeks, everything just broke and it wasn't working anymore, that is a poor product. So just because you paid less for it than the iPhone example doesn't mean that product should not live up to the expectation that you have based on how much you paid for it. So products and services contribute to the overall customer experience. Great products will lead to a great customer experience. A poor product will contribute to a poor customer experience. Now let's look at element number two, which is people. In every organization, there are going to be lots of different people, and every single one of those people will contribute to the overall customer experience. To break this down even further, let's look at all of the people within an organization that can and will impact the customer experience. The first person is going to be the CEO, the director, whoever is leading that organization. And they will have an impact on the customer experience in two very different ways. Number one is going to be how they interact with their customers personally. Now, in a big organization, the CEO is obviously going to have less time face to face with customers. However, this doesn't mean they wouldn't or shouldn't get out there to find out how their customers are feeling and what they're saying. A great example of this is Richard Branson, who has been known to speak to customers of Virgin Atlantic and his various other businesses face to face. Secondly, the CEO or the director of that company sets the tone and the agenda for customer experience for that organization. Everything rises and falls on leadership. That's a quote from John Maxwell. And it's so true in the case of customer experience. If the senior leader of that organization places a high priority on customer experience, the rest of the organization will follow suit. The next set of people that can impact CX is senior leadership. So they will carry out whatever mandate the CEO has put in place for customer experience for that year, for that quarter. Their responsibility is to implement that strategy across their teams and to make it local. The next set of people are the unsung heroes of your organization, and that is frontline staff. Now, we're talking about contact center staff members, people on the shop floor if you have a retail organization or you work in a retail organization, client relationship managers if you're in the B2B space. These are the people who speak to your customers every single day. My personal opinion is that they have a tremendous amount of value. Now, I may be a bit biased because I used to work in that sort of role, but they have such an impact on the customer experience because they speak to your customers every single day. Okay, so the next set of people that can impact CX are going to be the back office staff. I know this sounds really random. I'm talking about HR people and people that maybe work in employment law or the IT department. Now, you might be thinking, how do these people impact the customer experience? Well, this can happen in many ways. For example, people working in the HR department are going to have an influence on the employee experience because they will be responsible for things like onboarding, holidays, and benefits, and things like that. And they can actually have an impact on the customer experience because studies show that people who have a better employee experience have more bandwidth to deliver great customer experiences. Equally, someone in the IT department, their responsibilities may lie with how fast the website of a brand or business is being run. And so, if a customer interacts with a slow website, that falls on the IT department. And finally, the last set of people that can impact the customer experience are contractors. Again, this may sound random, but let's think about a real example. If you went into a hospital and you were a patient in that hospital, or you were maybe visiting family, but there was a contractor who was painting the walls and doing some different types of work in the facility that you were visiting, and they were rude, obnoxious, they had all their paints all over the floor. You walk into that place, you're going to have a bad patient or customer experience because you're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable with this random contractor just in the way. Now, obviously, there's a way that contractor could conduct themselves so that it wouldn't impact your experience with that hospital. The contractors can play a huge part in how you perceive a business or a brand. Now let's move on to the third and final element that makes up customer experience, and that is the customer journey. Let's take a closer look at the 4 stages of the customer journey. Stage number 1 is called discovery and choice, and this is where your customer has discovered they have a problem which needs to be solved, and so they're looking around to make a choice of a product or service provider that they are going to use to solve their problem. To break this down, this can look like anything. You may need a new TV, that's your problem. And to solve this problem, you need to find a television company or a company that sells TVs at your price point. The second stage of the journey is purchase and service. So once a customer has chosen your business, they move on to purchasing that service or that product. And in that time, they're going to be experiencing customer service from your customer service reps. They're going to be experiencing your website if they're buying online. And so that is the next stage in the journey. The next part is the product or service. So once somebody has purchased, now they're going to be thinking, has what I bought actually matched up to my expectations? And that's going to impact the customer journey and the overall customer experience. Finally, the last stage in the journey is loyalty. How you as a business or a brand are nurturing that customer to make sure they come back and do a repeat purchase when they have the same or similar problem. Okay, let's recap. Customer experience, also known as CX, is the feeling and the perception that your customers get from your brand based on their interactions with you. And this is made up of 3 key elements: products and services, people, and the customer journey. Some of those elements intertwine with each other, but from a holistic perspective, that is what customer experience is made up of. Now, let's answer that question. Customer service versus customer experience. What are the main differences? Well, as we've mentioned before, customer service is made up of 2 elements: the tangible aspect of the day-to-day service being provided by customer service representatives, then the intangible aspect, which is how we describe customer service. And that actually is one part of the customer experience. And so customer service is one isolated aspect of the overall customer experience, and customer experience encompasses a whole range of different elements that all work together that will either provide a good, an average, or a bad customer experience. I hope you have found this video helpful, and I hope I have been able to clarify what is the difference between the two concepts. If you've enjoyed this video and you want more content about customer service and customer experience, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know with a like if you'd like more videos like this. Have an awesome day. Take care.